balance sheet. What is balance sheet? What is balance sheet? Let us first understand. Yeah, 1 minute. So, friends, in every financial statements, there are two types of financial statements which are very, very important. These are profit and loss account and balance sheet. And one thing in profit, and I will be covering both the things simultaneously. In the profit and loss account, the topmost figure is always sales. Topmost figure is always sales. So because it comes on the very top, so it is called top line. Top line. This is the most important thing. If sale is increasing, then business is increasing. And at the end, after taking into consideration all the expenses, what is left is the profit. What is left is the profit. And profit is called the bottom line. If anybody asks you what is top line is always sale. What is bottom line? Bottom line is always profit. Friends, and in the balance sheet, we have got liabilities and assets. So, if you want, somebody asks you to prepare a profit and loss account and a balance sheet. So, how do you prepare it? So, supposing you are an accountant, we are taking you like this. You are an accountant in a company. You have to prepare profit and loss account. You have to prepare balance sheet. So, what do you do? Whatever expenses take place in the company, whatever expenses take place in the company, they are recorded in a book called journal. So all the transactions of the company are recorded in journal. Supposing, and from the journal, all the entries, all the transactions, ultimately they get summed up in two statements. One is profit and loss account, one is balance sheet. Supposing you are asked that to prepare, without preparing a journal, we have to prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet. Supposing in a company decides that instead of writing a journal, if any employee of the company, they do any financial transaction, they should simply write that financial transaction on a piece of paper and put it in a drop box. जो भी फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजेक्शन वो करेंगे उसको पीस ऑफ पेपर के ऊपर लिखकर एक ड्रॉप बॉक्स में डाल देंगे. And at the end of the year, if you are asked that take out all these slips one by one and put that transaction either in profit and loss account or in balance sheet. Is it easy or is it difficult? Friends, it is not difficult. Only thing is that whatever transaction takes place, it has to be bifurcated in 4 categories. What are those 4 categories? One is expense, other is income, and third is liability, and fourth is asset. The only thing is that you have to understand whether that transaction coming under expense or income or liabilities or asset. If you are able to bifurcate, categorize, classify that transaction, then you can prepare the balance sheet and profit and loss account. Only 4 things you are required to know. Now coming to that, why to ask about 4 things? Let me make the thing more simple. How to make the thing more simple? That in accountancy, there are 2 words. Those words are debit and credit. The words basically, debit and credit, they do not carry any meaning. They are simply names. My name is Tilak Gulati. Does it carry any meaning? No, they are simply in accounting. These are simply names. So sometimes what happens, it doesn't mean we have got certain notions. The debit denotes negative transaction and credit denotes signify positive transaction. No friends, अगर आपका एक सीसी डेबिट बैलेंस अकाउंट में है ऑलरेडी, उस डेबिट बैलेंस में डेबिट ट्रांजैक्शन और हो जाएगी तो बैलेंस इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, पॉजिटिव कॉनोटेशन आएगा। और अगर क्रेडिट बैलेंस है उसमें डेबिट ट्रांजैक्शन होगी तो वो डिक्रीज हो जाएगा, नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन आएगा। तो मींस दे आर सिंपली नेम्स ऑफ टू टाइप्स ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन। नाउ वन थिंग आई टेल यू, इफ यू सी द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट, on the expenses side it is written debit, and on the income side it is written credit. Agreed? And if you see the balance sheet, on the liability side it is written credit, and on the asset side it is written debit. Means it does mean that every transaction belongs to either debit transaction or credit transaction. If you find any transaction is a debit transaction, then you are sure that transaction will be either expense or asset. It cannot be income and liability. If it is a credit transaction, it will either be income or liability. Clear? So I have made things more clear. Now coming to this thing, means when our expense and our asset, they both connotes debit transaction, it does mean in expenses and in asset there is some similarity. What is that similarity? डेबिट ट्रांजैक्शन, एक्सपेंस और एसेट में क्या सिमिलरिटी है? इन एक्सपेंस मनी गोज आउट। जब भी कोई हम एक्सपेंस करते हैं तो मनी बाहर चली जाती है ना, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल पे किया और कोई भी खर्चा किया, ट्रैवलिंग अलाउंस पे किए, तो मनी गोज इन एक्सपेंस, मनी गोज आउट। And when we create an asset, we purchase a furniture, even then money goes out. In expense, money goes out. In asset, money goes out. Okay? When we purchase furniture, when we purchase building, when we purchase computer comes in, when money goes out. So this is a similarity. What is the similarity between income and liability? In income, money comes in. In income, money comes in. Now, because money is coming, that's why income is good. We are getting income. And in liability, whenever we are taking a loan, so money is coming in. Whenever we are putting capital into the company, in the company money is coming in. Whenever we are purchasing something, we are creating certain other current liabilities, money is coming in. So there is a similarity between income and liability, and there is similarity between expense and asset. So I have told you similarity. Okay. Now, when any debit item will either be expense or asset, there is a similarity that money goes out. That now we know that transaction is either expense or asset. Then we have to put in asset or in expense. अब और को ये प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी कि हमको एक्सपेंस में डालना है कि एसेट में डालना है। ओके, तो अब हमको डिफरेंस भी तो मालूम होना चाहिए कि क्या एक्सपेंस और एसेट के अंदर डिफरेंस क्या है। ओके, तो हाउ एक्सपेंसेस आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम एसेट्स, डिफरेंट कैसे हैं? व्हेन मनी इज स्पेंट कॉल्ड एन एक्सपेंस, एंड व्हेन मनी स्पेंट इज कॉल्ड एन एसेट। डिफरेंस कहाँ है? आपको इतना भी तो मालूम होना चाहिए कि मनी स्पेंट एक्सपेंस है या वो एसेट बन गई है। तो फ्रेंड्स, नाउ what is the difference between expense and asset? There is a misconception in the minds of certain people. क्या? When money, somebody says कि अगर वो मनी मशीनरी परचेज करने के लिए, कार परचेज करने के लिए और या कंप्यूटर परचेज करने के लिए है तो वो एसेट है, क्योंकि मशीनरी, कार और कंप्यूटर आर एसेट, एंड क्योंकि दे आर ऑल टेंजिबल आइटम। और अगर मनी स्पेंट होती है ऑन इंटेंजिबल आइटम्स लाइक सैलरी पर, रेंट, ट्रेवलिंग, these are called expenses. If we spend money on purchasing machinery, car or computer is an asset. If we are spending money for paying salary, rent, traveling expenses, these are called expenses. This is not true. This is only a misconception. एक और मिसकंसेप्शन भी है, क्या? कि अगर स्मॉल वैल्यू आइटम्स हैं उस पे मनी खर्च होती है, लाइक स्टेशनरी, तो ये क्या है? एक्सपेंस है। और लार्ज वैल्यू आइटम है जिसपे मनी स्पेंड होती है, लाइक परचेसिंग बिल्डिंग, और हाई वैल्यू कोई भी आइटम है तो एसेट है। नो, दिस इज आल्सो रॉन्ग। दिस इज आल्सो रॉन्ग कि सम इफ यू परचेज बिल्डिंग इट इज एन एसेट। नो, इट इज आल्सो रॉन्ग। ये डिपेंड किसके ऊपर करता है कि वो एसेट बनेगा या वो एक्सपेंस बनेगा। ये डिपेंड करता है किसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है फ्रेंड्स? दिस ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन, दिस इज अवर बेसिकली बैलेंस शीट, in profit and loss. Just you see in the balance sheet or profit and loss what is there. In the profit and loss we have written expenses are raw material, salary, rent, interest, and on the balance sheet we have written assets are fixed assets and current assets. लेकिन कौन सी आइटम एसेट में जाएगी, कौन सी आइटम लायबिलिटीज में जाएगी, इट ऑल डिपेंड्स अपॉन the life of the item purchased. Now, exactly do I mean when I say it is the life that decides when money spent is an expense and when money spent is an asset? What exactly do I mean to say? So let us try to understand with this example. So first thing, when we tell that this all depends upon life, this all depends upon life. So how long should be life? कितनी बड़ी लाइफ होनी चाहिए that money can be considered as an asset? कितनी बड़ी लाइफ होनी चाहिए? कोई भी आइटम परचेज किया उसकी लाइफ कितनी बड़ी हो कि उसको एसेट में हम डाल सकते हैं? सपोज I buy something that lasts for 10 months. Now, I buy something that lasts me for 10 days. It is an expense or asset? Okay. But longer life is 10 months, shorter life is 10 days. So, okay. Now, I am giving you one example. Suppose it is on 1st of April. We have purchased something and its life is 10 months. 10 months means 1st of April we are purchasing. So and 10 months will finish on 31st of January. That item will be fully consumed. So we are preparing a balance sheet next year, 31st March, after 12 months. So you are right. This is called expense. Now, on 27th March, we are buying something whose life is only 10 days. And we are preparing balance sheet on 31st March after 4 days. Every year, 31st March, we prepare a balance sheet. So that item is not fully consumed. Then can you take it as an expense? Friends, वो आइटम कंज्यूम अगर नहीं हुआ है एज ऑन डेट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट तो वो आइटम कहलाएगा एसेट और आइटम परचेज हो गया एज ऑन डेट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट then item will called as an expense. Supposing a company buys a building of 100 crore rupees. So 100 crore building generally we treat it as an asset. It will last for another 25, 30, 50 years, 100 years. But after 7 months, an earthquake comes. After 7 months, there is a war between two countries, Russia and Ukraine. And due to that war, the entire building is destroyed. Then, after that, whenever we are preparing a balance sheet, we are not treating that expense as an asset. We shall be treating that expense as that expenditure as an expense, because the entire expenditure has been consumed. कंजम्पशन होगा अगर बैलेंस शीट की डेट से पहले आइटम कंज्यूम हो गया तो वो एक्सपेंस है और अगर आइटम कंज्यूम नहीं हुआ तो वो एसेट बनेगा. कमिंग फर्दर, सो व्हाट इज मेंट बाय लाइफ? अगेन, व्हाट इज मेंट बाय लाइफ? वी आर कमिंग टू दिस. मेंट बाय लाइफ इज as on date of balance sheet, that item has to be fully consumed. So now be very clear. Money is spent on something that gets entirely consumed before the balance sheet is made is called an expense. Number two, money is spent on something that is not consumed at all. Not consumed कैसे है? You pay electricity bill, you pay telephone bill every month. Now you have decided to pay the telephone bill for the next 1 year. So next 1 year telephone bill has been paid. Still you have not used the telephone for next 1 year. So because that item has not been consumed at all on the date of balance sheet is called an asset. Now, it may happen, as I have given you example, 27th March को item purchase किया. Now, read it. 27th March to 31st March, 4 days have passed, 6 days are still remaining. So, can we take that expenditure as an expense or can we take that expenditure as an asset? Now, think is that money is spent on something that is partially consumed and remain partially unconsumed on the date of balance sheet. Now, how will we treat? To the extent it is consumed is called an expense. जितना consume हो गया वो expense कहलाएगा. To the extent it is not consumed at all is called an asset. बिल्कुल consume नहीं हुआ है तो वो asset कहलाएगा. Now, coming further. Now you see, if you have seen the balance sheet and you have seen the profit and loss account. In the profit and loss account, one item is coming, raw material. And in the balance sheet, again the item is coming, raw material. Same item, it is coming in profit and loss. Same item is coming in balance sheet. What does it mean? कंपनीज क्या करती हैं? कंपनीज दे परचेज बल्क रॉ मटेरियल and gradually they keep on consuming it, consuming it, consuming it. As on 31st March, when they make the balance sheet, if any raw material is consumed, it is coming in expense. If any raw material is remaining, it is coming in balance sheet as an asset because it has not been consumed. Okay. Now, having certain basic understanding, now we are trying to understand what is balance sheet. Friends, balance sheet is a statement of asset and liability of a person or entity as on a particular date. Now that supposing I am standing before a mirror, whenever I am standing before a mirror, how do I look like? Whether I have combed my hair or not, whether I have done my beard, whether I am wearing specs or not. How do I look? I will exactly look like in the mirror. Same thing. Same way, whenever we prepare a balance sheet, on that particular date, rather I should say on that particular moment, what are the financials of the company? Means financials of the company exactly look like as on the date of balance sheet. पर्टिकुलर डेट को कंपनी के फाइनेंशियल्स कितने हैं, कैसे हैं, वो बैलेंस शीट में दिखाई देते हैं. इट इज ए स्टैटिक रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल्स ऑफ ए कंपनी. स्टैटिक रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ऑफ ए कंपनी. वेयर एज प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, थ्रू आउट द ईयर कंपनी को प्रॉफिट कितना हुआ, इट इज ए डायनामिक रिफ्लेक्शन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल्स ऑफ द कंपनी. बैलेंस शीट इज स्टैटिक रिफ्लेक्शन. एक पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट पे फाइनेंशियल्स कितने हैं, बैलेंस प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, कि थ्रू आउट द ईयर कंपनी को प्रॉफिट कितना हुआ. सो बैलेंस शीट इज ए स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एसेट्स एंड लायबिलिटी ऑफ ए पर्सन और एंटिटी एज ऑन ए पर्टिकुलर डेट. बाय कन्वेंशन, liabilities are listed on the left side and assets are on the right side. This is a convention. Now, as per Companies Act 2013, it has been made mandatory for all the corporates that they should prepare balance sheet in a vertical format. ये वर्टिकल फॉर्मेट बैलेंस शीट है. जस्ट आई एम showing you means it is not a left hand side liability, right hand side asset. Vertically it comes, but we are not discussing today vertical form of balance sheet. What we are discussing today is the conventional or horizontal form of balance sheet. In conventional, what is coming? Equity and liabilities are coming on the left side and assets are coming on the right side. This is a professional, this is a conventional preparation of balance sheet, and all the MSME entrepreneurs, they prepare the balance sheet like this. So let us try to understand how to prepare the balance sheet. So my request to you, everyone, you have kept a notebook, a lead pencil, and an eraser. On your notebook, just draw this balance sheet. Don't write anything, just draw it. Draw these lines. Here you write liabilities, amount, asset, amount. Just do it like this. Just do it like this. Prepare it. Just draw it. Now we will try to learn how to prepare the balance sheet. Okay. All ready? Now we are preparing this balance sheet. Now, there is one person, Tilak Gulati. So He has got 1 lakh rupees and he wants to start a small shop in the name of Gulati store. Means Tilak Gulati wants to start a shop in the name of Gulati store. So one thing is very clear that Tilak Gulati and Gulati store are two different entities. Okay? So what Gulati store will do? They will deal in provisions. Provisional store will be there. And this 1 lakh rupees which Tilak Gulati has given to Gulati store, to Mr. Gulati, it will be an asset. Personally, it will be asset for me. But to Gulati store, my company, because whenever we are preparing a balance sheet of the Gulati store company, it is a borrowing because that 1 lakh rupee company has borrowed from Tilak Gulati. Okay. So now we are preparing balance sheet of the company Gulati store. So we call this amount of 1 lakh rupee as capital of Gulati store. This is a capital of Gulati store. Since it is a borrowing and has to be paid back to Mr. Gulati when the concern or a company is wound up. Now, one more thing is very clear. Whenever capital is given in a company, it is never paid back. It remains with the company. When, if I have invested certain money in my company, in any company whatsoever, whether company will give back me the money? No, never. That money will be, I will get that money when the company gets wound up. It goes into liquidation. Only then, when the assets of the company are sold, I will get back my money. So capital remains with the company throughout the life of the company. So hence, this 1 lakh rupee is a liability to the company. So this amount, company Gulati store, they deposit into the bank account of the company. They deposit it. Simple transaction. Very simple. Gulati store has taken 1 lakh rupees from Tilak Gulati and deposited into the bank account. Now, just in the structure of balance sheet which you have prepared, write something. Prepare a balance sheet. Only 2 transactions have taken place. Prepare the balance sheet. Liability side, what will come, and asset side, what will come. Just write. I am giving you 30 seconds time. Yes, my dear friends. You have all prepared the balance sheet. Let us see. If your balance sheet tallies with my balance sheet, then you are perfectly going for well. How it is? This is how will you prepare the balance sheet? Balance sheet of Gulati store as on 31st March 2023. Liability side, capital is 1 lakh. On the asset side, cash in hand and bank is 1 lakh. And total is 1 lakh. If everybody's balance sheet tallies with my balance sheet, you are going well. What is this total? What is this total card? Total is called size of the balance sheet. We call size of the balance sheet. Total is called. I hope everybody's balance sheet tallies with my balance sheet. Let us now go further. Now what happens? What happens? That Gulati store now, what does it do? Gulati store now purchases furniture like computer, counter to carry out its business, and total cost of furniture is 10,000 rupees. They have to start the business. 10,000 rupees is the cost of the furniture. And they pay it cash or through bank. Cash is paid for this. So what will happen? Our bank balance will go down to 90,000. Earlier it was 1 lakh. Now it will come to 90,000. What will happen? Furniture which has been purchased will be asset of the company. That furniture will be asset of the company. All that has happened is one form of asset. Cash was an asset. So one form of asset, that is cash, has been changed into another form of asset, that is furniture and fixture. So this is given effect to by reducing cash on the one hand and introducing a new head called furniture and fixture. So friends, whatever balance sheet you had already prepared, rub something, write something. You have got an eraser, rub something, write something, and just prepare the balance sheet, fresh balance sheet with these transactions. And see your balance sheet tallies or asset and liabilities tally or not. I am giving you 30-second time to prepare it. Okay, let us see how you have gone. If your balance sheet is telling with my balance sheet, how? On the liability side, still no change, 1 lakh rupees is there. On the asset side, cash in hand at the bank has gone down to 90,000. Fixture is 10,000. And size of the balance sheet still remain 1 lakh. If everybody's balance sheet tallies with my balance sheet, you are going perfect. If anybody is finding any problem, please unmute and tell me, because we are going into more difficult transactions. I'm confident everybody's balance sheet tallies with this. Everybody is going smooth. Now what happens? What happens now, friends? Now Gulati store, what does? Purchases some item of trading, because now trading has to be done. It purchases 5 bags of rice, 4 bags of wheat, and 2 bags of sugar, 1 carton of oil, and various other miscellaneous items. And it pays through cash. Everything is paid through cash. The total cost of these items comes to rupees 5,000. So he has purchased all these items for trading, and amount comes to 5,000 rupees. And this is paid by check. Cash and bank balance. What will happen? Cash in hand or at bank will get reduced by 5,000 rupees. And all the items purchased can be collectively termed as stock in trade or simply stock. These items will call stock. Since this is an asset, stock is an asset, it is shown on asset side of the balance sheet. Now you do one thing, rub something, write something, and see your balance sheet, liabilities and asset tally or not. Again, I am giving you 30-second time. Rub something and write something. Okay. Okay, friends. Just you see, if your balance sheet tallies with my balance sheet, on the liability side, still no change, it is 1 lakh rupees. On the asset side, what has gone? The cash in hand at the bank is now coming to 85,000. Furniture fixtures still remain 10,000. A new item has come, stock, that is 5,000. So size of the balance sheet still remain 1 lakh rupees. Still remain 1 lakh rupees. I hope everybody is going with me, at par with me. No problem to anyone. Coming further. Now गुलाटी स्टोर का सेलिंग स्टार्ट हो गया, स्टॉक परचेज कर लिया, फर्नीचर फिक्चर लगा दिया, शॉप ओपन हो गया, अब सेल भी करना है ना, है तो इट सेल सम आइटम ऑफ स्टॉक फॉर 1,000 रुपीज ऑन कैश. अब न्यू शॉप है तो स्टार्टिंग में उसको क्रेडिट पे भी सेल करना पड़ेगा. उसने 1,000 रुपीज की सेल तो कैश में किया एंड 2,000 रुपीज सेल इज ऑन क्रेडिट. 2,000 रुपीज सेल इज ऑन क्रेडिट कि आज सामान ले जाइए, कल पैसा दे जाइए. क्रेडिट पे सेल कर दिया. तो फर्स्ट केस में जो 1,000 रुपीज सेल किया उसने ऑन कैश, व्हाट विल हैपन? स्टॉक विल गेट रिड्यूस्ड बाय 1,000 and cash in hand will go up by 1,000. Cash will go up by 1,000. और सेकेंड केस में जो क्रेडिट पे सेल किया, stock will get reduced by 2,000 and new entry on the asset side will come. That entry will be called debtor or receivable. That entry will be called debtor or receivable. So what does it mean? Stock will get reduced by 1,000 plus 2,000, 3,000 rupees. Stock will get reduced by 3,000 stock, and 1,000 cash will increase, and 2,000 rupees debtor will come. Just rub something and write something, whether your balance sheet tallies with my balance sheet or not. Again, I am giving you 40-second time. Okay, friends. Let us see now. Now, fresh balance sheet will be like this. Capital still remain 1 lakh, no change. And cash in hand at a bank will be 86,000. Furniture fixture will be 10,000. Stock will be 2,000. And receivable will be 2,000. Size of the balance sheet still 1 lakh rupees. Yes, I think everybody is going with me. Perfect. Coming further. Now, Gulati store has to, stock has been sold. They have to replenish the stock also. They have to purchase fresh stock. So Gulati store replenished his stock by purchasing goods worth 6,000 rupees. अब बिजनेस बढ़ गया है और ज्यादा स्टॉक चाहिए तो उसने 6,000 रुपीज का स्टॉक और परचेज कर लिया. अब गुलाटी स्टोर की मार्केट में रेपुटेशन भी बन गया है. Now creditors are coming. You purchase stock from us, pay us later. So supplier are coming. You take this stock, give us money after 1 month. So what will happen? The 6,000 rupees stock they have purchased, Gulati store, and it pays 2,000 rupees cash for the goods. And balance of 4,000 rupees obtains credit for the remaining amount of 4,000. Balance of 4,000, they get credit from the market, from the supplier. So what will happen? Stock will get increased by 6,000. Stock will get increased by 6,000 and cash in hand will get reduced by 2,000. Why? Reduced by 2,000. Because they have purchased stock of 2,000 rupees by paying cash. That's why it is reduced by 2,000 only. Stock get increased 6,000. Cash will reduce by 2,000 only. And balance 4,000. A new entry will call sundry creditor and is added in the liability side now. Now it is coming in the liability side. Amount is 4,000. Availed from the market is shown against this. Since it is a liability, it means that the company owes this amount. Company has to pay back this amount. Now, liability side will also get affected. Now, rub something and write something. Prepare a fresh balance sheet. Let us see how your balance sheet goes on. I am giving you 45-second time. Rub something and write something. Yes, my dear friends. Let us see how you are proceeding. Now, this is the balance sheet. Now, what is happening? On the liability side, capital is 1 lakh and new item, sundry creditor has come and this item is 4,000 rupees. New item has come. Now, cash in hand at bank is now 84,000 because 2,000 has been reduced. Furniture fixtures still remain the same and stock has been increased by 6,000. Now it is 8,000 rupees. Receivables are 2,000 rupees. The size of the balance sheet is now increased 1,04,000. Now it is 1,04,000. This is how the balance sheet is getting increased. When business grows, balance size of the balance sheet also grows. Now what is happening? Now Gulati store approaches a bank, HDFC Bank, for a term loan of 30,000. For what? For purchasing the premises in which it is conducting business and which has come up for sale at the cost of 40,000. Earlier, Gulati store was doing business in a rented shop. Now the owner of the shop has agreed to sell that shop and he is selling that shop for 40,000 rupees. For purchasing that shop of 40,000 rupees, Gulati store approached the bank for a term loan of 30,000 rupees. He is purchasing shop of 40,000, approaching bank for loan of 30,000. Why so? Because the owner of the Gulati store, Tilak Gulati, he knows perfectly well that bank do not give loan for the amount, whole amount of item purchased. जितने का आइटम आप परचेज कर रहे हो पूरा अमाउंट कभी बैंक लोन नहीं देता. बैंक ये बोलता है कि आपका स्टेक भी उसमें होना चाहिए. योर ओन कंट्रीब्यूशन शुड आल्सो बी देयर इन दैट आइटम. So generally contribution we stipulate 25% of the item purchased. When he is purchasing a shop of 40,000, 25,000, 10,000 rupees, he should put his own money and bank will give 30,000 rupees term loan for purchasing the shop. Agreed? So, with this, what will happen? The bank agrees to loan of 30,000. Bank has agreed to give loan of 30,000, but with a condition that the balance amount of 10,000 rupees, his own margin, should be borne by the concern from its own funds. 10,000 rupees Gulati store should pay, 30,000 rupees bank will pay, and then total amount of 40,000 will go to the shop owner. And now what will happen? New entry appears on the liability side. What is that? Bank term loan. That entry will come, and that amount of entry will be 30,000 rupees. And what will happen? Cash in hand will get reduced by 10,000. Why so? Because he has paid, Gulati store has paid the margin. Margin is 10,000. Now, you rub something, write something. Let us see how your balance sheet is progressing. I am giving you full 1 minute time. Okay, friends. Let us see this balance sheet. Here, our capital is still 1 lakh. Bank term loan is coming now 30,000. Bank term loan is 30,000. Creditors are 4,000. Total is 1,34,000. Liability side total. On the asset side, new item has come. What is there? Shop. Shop, fixed asset is an asset now. No, that fixed asset shop is there, 40,000 rupees come. Your shop is now purchased, no? So new item has come, shop 40,000. Furniture fixtures still remain 10,000. Stock still remain 8,000. Receivable 2,000. And cash in hand has gone down by 10,000. Now it is 74,000. If you total it up, it is coming 1,34,000. Now, the size of the balance sheet is growing. Now, come on. If everybody is at par with me, no problem to anyone. Let us proceed further. Now, what has happened? Gulati store of business is growing. When business is growing, now Gulati store requests the bank for working capital facility, cash credit facility. Because they have to purchase more raw material. So they have approached for working capital facility of 22,500, which is sanctioned after due appraisal. Bank does due appraisal. We shall also be doing due appraisal in the level 2 of this training program. Now the company utilizes this fund, 22,500, to purchase surplus stock of 30,000. Again the question, bank has given him 22,500 and he has purchased a stock of 30,000. Why so? Again, the promoter Tilak Gulati knows that unless Gulati store do not purchase stock of 30,000, bank will not release him 22,500. Why? Because bank never gives loan of the full amount of item purchased. If they want to avail 22,500, then they will purchase stock of 30,000. 25% it will be his company's margin, 7,500. 22,500 bank will give cash credit limit. Now what will happen? As a result, stock goes up by 30,000. Now stock is gone up by 30,000 and cash in hand and at bank will be reduced by 7,500. That is margin. And a new entry on the liability side will come. That is bank cash credit. New item will come, bank cash credit. Now you rub something and write something and see how your balance sheet is growing, whether it is tallied or not. Do it, friends. Giving you 1 minute time. Now let us see how your balance sheet is growing. Now, your balance sheet will look like this. What is this? Capital still 1 lakh. Bank term loan is still 30,000. Creditor still 4,000. And new entry, bank cash credit. It has come 22,500. And on the asset side, fixed asset shop is still there. Furniture fixture 10,000 still there. Stock has gone up by 30,000. Now it is 38,000. Receivables still 2,000. And bank cash in hand will go down by 7,500 margin money. And the size of the balance sheet is now 1,56,500. Now balance sheet is growing. Agreed, friends? From this balance sheet, anybody is finding any problem, please tell me. From this balance sheet, you will know that by and large, all the items in the balance sheet, they have come. All the items in the balance sheet, whatever big balance sheet we see, all these items are there. Means term liabilities are there, current liabilities are there, fixed assets are there, and current assets are there. Everything is available in this. Friends, now, whatever balance sheet we have seen over here, this is a sole trader balance sheet. We have prepared this balance sheet now. This is a sole trader balance sheet. Why? It is a Gulati store, number one. and nothing has been mentioned over here. It is a proprietorship balance sheet, sole trader balance sheet. Now, you are working in a bank. You get a balance sheet. So, on the face of balance sheet, without asking the borrower what is your constitution, whether you are proprietorship, whether you are partnership, whether you are limited company, private limited company, whatever you are, don't ask anything. On the face of the balance sheet, just saying is, you are able to say that this is a partnership balance sheet. This firm is a partnership firm. How do you know what changes we will make in this balance sheet? Just only seeing what changes can be made in this balance sheet. Not much changes are required to be made. Nothing is required to be made. Only if you see the balance sheet. If it is a partnership firm and there are two partners, partner A and partner B, and their capital is in the ratio 4:6. So what will be difference? So balance sheet will look like this thing, no change in the balance sheet except in the capital structure. In the capital, it will be written partners A capital 40,000, partners B capital 60,000, total capital 1 lakh. Only this thing. If this thing is written, simply you understand this is a partnership firm. Don't ask the borrower, otherwise borrower will understand you don't know anything about the balance sheet. Just supposing it is a private limited or limited company, just seeing the balance sheet, you are able to tell this is a private limited or a limited company. What is public limited company? Capital would have been contributed by a number of people in the form of shares. The entire capital is divided into equity share of smaller denomination. So again, there will not be much difference. Only thing is that on the capital side, liability side in the capital, only this thing is written. What is this thing? Total capital is 1 lakh. What they will write? Authorized share capital 15,000, equity share of 10 rupees each, 1,50,000. Paid up share capital 10,000, equity share of 10 each, total 1 lakh. If it is written, you understand it is a limited company, either private limited or public limited company. So please, whatever is written, we shall be coming to understand what is authorized capital and what is paid up capital during this discussion. But first thing, keep it in your mind. In the body of the balance sheet here, only paid up capital will come. Authorized capital will not come. This is only for information to the public. We have got the authorized capital, but what is authorized capital? We shall be understanding during the course of discussion. Only paid up capital will come over here. Agreed? Everybody going and with me? Now, friends, whatever balance sheet we have seen. So, in that balance sheet, let us understand, because when you are going to appraise a credit proposal, then you have to calculate certain ratios. Whenever you are going to calculate certain ratios, how will you calculate ratios? Unless you don't know how to classify each item of the balance sheet. कौन सा आइटम कौन सी क्लासिफिकेशन में आएगा, अगर आपको ये मालूम होगा तभी तो आप रेशियोज प्रॉपर निकाल पाएंगे, वरना रेशियोज तो गलत निकल जाएंगे. तो फर्स्ट, नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड how to classify each item in the balance sheet. What is that? The entire liabilities are sources of funds, and the entire assets represent uses of funds. Remember this thing, one thing. The liabilities, just 1 minute. Liabilities are sources of funds. कहाँ से पैसा आया? These are the liabilities. These are the sources of funds. कहाँ से पैसा आया? And assets are uses of funds. कहाँ पैसा लग गया, यूज हो गया? इस मनी से 1,56,500 कहाँ से आया? कैपिटल आया, टर्म लोन आया, क्रेडिटर, बैंक कैश क्रेडिट आया. और इस मनी कहाँ यूज हुआ? वी हैव परचेज फिक्स्ड एसेट्स, फर्नीचर फिक्चर्स, स्टॉक, रिसीवेबल, एंड सम कैश इज आल्सो लाइन. So liabilities are sources of funds and assets are uses of funds. Now, number 2, some sources of funds are payable within 12 months. They are called current liabilities. अब कौन से sources हैं 12 months में pay होते हैं? If we see, capital cannot be paid in 12 months. Bank term loan cannot be paid in 12 months. Your term loan is paid over a period of time in equal monthly installment. Only creditors and bank cash credit will be paid within 12 months. So these are called current liabilities. These are called current liabilities. Okay. Now coming to further, read it. Some assets can be converted into cash within 12 months. They are called current assets. वो कौन से assets हैं जो 12 months में cash में convert हो सकते हैं? These cannot be converted into cash. Furniture cannot be converted into cash within 12 months. Only stock can be converted. Receivables can be converted, and cash is cash. So these are called current assets. These are called current assets. Okay. Coming further, liabilities payable only after 12 months. जो liabilities 12 months के बाद पे होंगी, they will be long-term sources, and some of the funds have been put in long-term uses. अगर हम इसमें देखेंगे तो these are the long-term sources. Authorized capital and bank term loan, these are long-term sources, and these are fixed assets and furniture fixture, long-term uses. These are the long-term uses. Okay, understanding this thing, let us now bifurcate this, classify this balance sheet. We are now classifying this balance sheet, whatever we had prepared. Term liabilities, or we can say long-term sources. These are authorized capital, and this is bank term loan. And current liabilities or short-term sources are creditor and bank cash credit. Fixed assets or long-term uses are our fixed assets and furniture fixture, and our current assets and short-term uses are stock, receivable, and cash. So this is how we should understand how to classify each item of balance sheet. Perfect? Anybody is having any problem? Please tell me. If it is going on perfect. Now, Let us check. What should we check? Let us check your knowledge now.